If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine, and maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them, from disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the Real Chat Podcast,
where we talk business, lifestyle, and mindset.
For the modern entrepreneur.
I'm Baxter Colburn.
I'm Allison Elise.
I'm Mandi Wilkie. Let's chat. Are we recording yet?
Yes, we are.
As we sit here in the dark
As we sit here,
on
very
this
moody.
solemn day.
It's a rainy day.
It is.
This is nice.
Need some jazz playing in the background. Something.
Oh, I don't know about jazz. Piano? I would do piano.
Yeah, like some piano.
Something.
Some acoustic
Nora
guitar.
Jones, something like that. All of that is important.
As we're downtown, where it all began.
There is some irony to that, right? Sitting in the same area.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle. Totally.
Literally sitting in a circle.
When the only difference is that we cared so much about what we wore at the beginning of this podcast.
It's true. It's true. Now we don't.
We don't do video. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Other things that have evolved in the 2 years. 2 years? How many
2 years.
episodes?
A little over 40, I think, or this is 40. I'd have to double check.
Oh, wouldn't that be monumental too if this was the 40th?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground the last 2 years, honestly. So it's been kind of wild to see what we've been able to do and who we've been able to talk to and the conversations we've had, right?
Do we need to welcome people?
Possibly.
To the
I feel like
podcast today?
if they've read the show description or read the title of this episode, they kind of already know.
They probably do.
Probably already know, but it's important, right? Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Allie.
everyone. I'm Mandi.
I'm Baxter. Hello. Welcome.
Let's chat.
Exactly.
Let's chat. 40th and final.
Correct.
40th and final episode.
40th and final. So if you're listening to us today, this was a hard decision. One that we toyed with for a couple of, well, I would say longer than a couple of weeks. One that we talked about.
I think we had the conversation. We touched base on it a lot.
We didn't want
Just
to believe it.
What does it look like? What do our schedules look like? What does life look like for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we finally were all three on the same page with agreeing that it was time. Mm-hmm. It was time.
Yeah.
Not because we wanted it to be time, but because it's somewhat run its course, but also because the three of us have evolved in the 2 years.
Correct. And I think sometimes people think about when you start a podcast specifically, right? They're like, oh, it's something that you're going to do forever until you get bought out or whatever, right? Some big thing happens,
Oh,
right?
did we
Like,
get bought out?
Maybe.
Oh,
I just
okay.
didn't tell you. I'm sorry.
Oh, Baxter took all the cash.
Correct. Exactly. All $3. I ran away with it all. But podcasts, and as we've talked about this as a whole, right? They have seasons. They have specific reasons that people start their shows, right?
Yeah.
And you have some, like, think about the big ones, right? Like the Joe Rogans or whoever, that's their livelihood, among other things, right? Is they've got massive deals and huge guests, and that's what they do. Other ones, like ours, are to help us with our lives in that moment or our business or an excuse to get together, right? A couple times a month, right? Like everybody has a reason behind it. And when a show ends, when it ends in a good way, like ours is, right? Like that is a testament to the fact that we were able to do something that not a lot of people can do. A lot of people don't make it past 10 episodes for a
Right.
podcast. Sometimes people don't even come back for 3 or 4 episodes. So
Yeah.
30 plus episodes over 2 years is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not in the like Grey's Anatomy Friends category, but we're certainly past the pilot stage.
100
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
I think too, looking at like the sense of community, I feel like we've created kind of just like authentically with even the guests that we've had on and the conversations that we've been able to have. It's been really cool to kind of watch that grow into seeing other businesses evolve, which I think was kind of one of the biggest goals for this podcast for us, was to see and support other businesses and give them insight too on what it is like to be an entrepreneur. And just like that in life, I feel like entrepreneurship shifts, you grow and you evolve and you change. And yeah, there's just a time, like there's a time and a place for everything, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I think time and a place, reason and a season.
Correct.
Right. And I
100%.
think I think this has served its purpose for each of us differently, uniquely. It's helped us be stronger in our own businesses. It's helped us to be vulnerable in sharing things about business ownership. I've learned things.
Same.
So I don't think any of it is regretted or wasted.
Oh, no.
No, absolutely.
But I think we want to talk a little bit today about where we were 2 years ago
Yep.
in our lives, personally, professionally, all the things, and where we're headed
Yeah,
now.
totally.
Right? So
Oh, yeah. You start. Where were you 2 years ago, Mandy? When we sat over at the Taza.
That was my first question. Do you remember how this all happened?
yeah, we were all three at Taza
Yep.
When it was
I was
downtown.
alone though, right? I was
Yeah,
sitting
you were-
separately. You guys were together.
I don't think we
Right?
were together. I think
You
we
and I were meeting.
Were
You
we
were
meeting?
meeting, yeah.
We were meeting. I don't remember what the topic of conversation was, but I remember I was frustrated with something.
Yeah.
I think I do now remember, which we won't dive into. And I was kind of venting or ranting to Baxter and asking how he would handle it, right? Because I think as business owners, there's a couple things. We all handle things. There's a personal side to the way we want to respond.
Yeah.
In any situation, and then there's a professional side, and sometimes we struggle to find the balance, and sometimes we take the high road so high that we don't acknowledge that feelings were hurt or that someone didn't do things the right way. So I was asking Baxter, and I think Allie was eavesdropping.
She was editing. She was 74 things deep in editing.
Yeah,
Sure.
she was editing, but
Typical.
she kind of overheard, right? Because how can you not, right? We're all talking, and I was probably
Were we
loud.
sitting at the long table?
No.
Nope.
We
You
were
were at the table
We were in
next
the
to
window
us.
and
No, we
we were at this
close to the middle because
table.
they used to have that little like woodsy like
Yeah.
divider.
Wall thing.
You were
Yeah.
on the other side of the wall and we were right on the other side.
She was on the other side of the fake wall that you can hear through.
Correct.
no me peeking through
Yeah.
branches.
And
They just what?
I think, and I,
Thank you.
my
photos.
microphone with my headphones.
Yeah.
yeah, I think what it was is we had all been in a similar situation in our career where we had felt a certain way.
Yep.
We knew there was a right way to respond, and we just started talking about it. And then one of us, I don't know which one,
I think
me?
it was you.
It was
Yeah.
you. You leaned over to
That's-
Allie. You talked to me like we should start a podcast. And
Well,
you lean over to Allie.
I think the first
I remember that.
first
Yeah.
thought was if we all three collectively have felt this way,
Correct.
there's probably hundreds of other people
Absolutely
that
true.
could benefit from this same question.
Totally.
And then
And
it
that's
was
very
we should
good.
start a
was
podcast.
it the question about the car you drive?
No,
Is that the question? You're like, do you feel like people judge you by the car you drive?
that was one of our topics.
That was
Do you
one of the
remember that?
topics
Oh,
and our
yeah.
early discussion points.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that wasn't
Yeah.
the
okay.
exact reason.
I
but
felt like that was pretty early on that we talked
That
about that
was early on.
situation,
Yeah.
Like,
and
if
we
you
were
go on
kind of like, wait a
vacation-
second, there's people that literally think this about
'Cause it was- yeah,
entrepreneurs.
'cause it was
They
the
think that you
Tesla, it was
have
the Lexus,
all the
it was
time.
all the
Yes.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
They think you have
The
all the time in the
2016
world. They
Lexus.
think you like live in this rainbow land that
No.
like everything is just laid out on a silver platter for you when like clearly it's not.
I don't get
Yeah.
that with my Kia. That's weird.
with your family car.
Yeah,
You're
right.
very, very.
Or our van, right?
I'm at a
Like-
different stage. Nobody
Yeah.
rides in my car with me anymore, so it can be whatever I want it to be.
I got rid of mine because
Never
it
felt
was-
judged when I. Oh, that's weird. Maybe they
But
feel bad.
I think that the underlying consensus was we can probably help some people
Yes.
to either not feel alone
Right.
or have some direction in how to respond. And we can probably learn something from each other.
Yes, and just have genuine conversation about the real raw aspect
The
of
real lives of the entrepreneurs.
being
Because we
an
were having
entrepreneur.
multiple discussions as friends,
Yeah.
as friends all the time. But
Yeah.
it was never one of those like forums of like, let's actually sit
Correct.
down and like
Right.
talk about it, right?
Right.
That was
and be
multiple times.
honest about the real,
Correct.
the real chat. Not
Yes.
Shane
It
has
wasn't even supposed to be the real
sugar-coated-
name, by the way.
It wasn't.
Right,
No,
remember that situation.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a situation. That was.
Are they still going?
Nope.
It is funny because Shane always talks about that when people talk about when we're together. Like we sometimes wonder, like if we're at a grocery store at 10 o'clock, people are like, what do they do for a living? Right? Why is this
That is
couple
very-
out of the
yeah.
grocery store?
Totally.
But when people say, oh, well, you're an entrepreneur, you get to pick your schedule. We're like, yeah, we pick which 12 hours a day we want to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Or what works for our clients.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean?
Like it's
like there are some weeks that
they
you,
make it sound very glam. You get to do what you want. Yeah, we also don't get paid if we don't do anything.
Yeah,
So.
I will say too, like from my perspective, I feel like I've always tried to romanticize the lifestyle of an entrepreneur because
Yeah.
I don't want to ever work a 9-to-5 job. I don't ever want to work for someone else's dream. Like
Right.
Right.
I would never go and get a job at Starbucks. Like no
Even though you
shade,
love coffee.
no shade on people that do, because that's amazing and they do great
If you're
work
in grad
because
school.
people need coffee in the morning.
ASU.
But for me personally, it was always like, I always had that entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I always felt like I was romanticizing the lifestyle of an entrepreneur without really like digging deep in what the hard is
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
entrepreneur lifestyle.
Well, I think that even
That-
ties back to what you do as social media influencing a little bit too, right? Like
Yeah.
people are like, oh my gosh, people just send you things and you just,
Oh, it's so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy, right? Like truthfully, like the people that I know that do it full time or have done it at a high level, like it's exhausting, which is
Oh.
such a funny thing to be like, oh, so sad. Like, no,
Yeah.
like we're working. It is work.
And I feel like it's misunderstood.
Very much
And
so.
I'm learning now that I'm diving into it way deeper because
Yeah.
photography has always been my thing, but now I'm doing more of like the social media content creation.
Yeah.
It's actually more difficult.
Yeah.
It's actually more difficult work than my photography. Like it's hard. It's not an easy career. And for some reason, I just can't stop thinking about how much I want to do it. So
And I do think the non-entrepreneur romanticizes it. And you were talking about the Joe Rogan podcast, and that
Yeah.
I'm a big Ed Milet fan,
Yeah.
right? And I was listening to one of his the other day, and he was like, if you look at the drive, the energy, the go get it attitude, any entrepreneur, they're next level. And he was comparing it to doing tricep exercises. He said he was in the gym and this guy next to him had like these massive traps or whatever it was. I don't know. And he was like, I work out. I have pretty good physique, but this guy next to me, man, he just looked amazing. So he said, well, like, what's your trick? And the guy's like, what do you mean your trick? He's like, well, how many reps do you do? And the guy looked at Ed Milet and he goes, until I can't.
sure.
Right. And Ed's like, here I was doing my like 3 sets of 8.
Yeah.
Right.
Call it a day,
He has it
yeah.
numbered.
Right.
Yeah.
But entrepreneurs are typically driven to do it until they can't.
Correct.
Totally.
You don't work 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
You work until you can't.
Yeah, your
Like
brain never shuts off.
never
Totally.
stops, never shuts off, never quits.
Yeah.
So although there's this beautiful romantic view of what our lives are like, the reality is one of the reasons why we're saying goodbye to this podcast is because we've grown in 2
Correct.
years, each of us in our own way. And to find time for the three of us to connect, to get the topics going that we hope are going to impact you. And then also we've been bringing more guests on. So now it's not 3 entrepreneurs, it's 4 and 5 and 6 that we're trying to schedule. And it's virtually hard when you're working with entrepreneurs that
Correct.
never stop.
That roundtable episode was great, but trying to get 4 moms, business owners, for like, and then
In the
all 3 of
evening.
us in the evening.
Yeah.
We baited them with wine, so I think that helped.
That's true. Wine
Like,
helps.
think about that in general, right? But like, it still was wild to me. I remember texting Rachel when Katrina was on our show a couple of weeks ago. I was
Yeah.
like, literally, the owner of Ledgestone is sitting at our kitchen table right now, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "That's so cool."
We've made it.
Yeah,
We're
I
on
was
the
like,
map.
we are like, this is a big deal here, or Rebecca, right, or Lindsay, right,
Or
like,
people that have reached out and said, we
Yeah.
want to be on the podcast. I mean, how fun
That's
is
a
that?
compliment. That's a huge
Huge
compliment. Right?
compliment.
It's that alone, I think, because sometimes you feel like you're speaking into a void with a podcast, right? And I tell that to my podcast clients. If you don't promote the show, if you don't tell people, if you don't tell I use the example, like if your mom doesn't know you have a podcast, like how is anybody else supposed to know, right?
Totally.
Like you'd think the person you talk to or family directly, right, doesn't know you don't do a show. Like how are other people supposed to listen to it? So the more you tell people, the more you get them involved, right? But then once you start telling people, you don't know. Like I have people that'll come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I love this episode." I'm like, "I had no idea you listen." Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and it kind of surprises you. You get random messages of people be like, "I listened to this." I think of Vinny from Overland Old Fashioned Mix. He's like, "Every time I brew a new batch, I listen to your episodes." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, okay, thank you.
And I think that's where some of the guilt of being good entrepreneurs and being business owners fell into this is
Yeah.
we weren't able to give it the time and the energy to promote it and share it and do the things with it that we wanted to. So for 3 high performing, high work ethic, high driven people, that was nagging on all of us.
Correct. Yeah. 'Cause
Like, we
do
weren't
things
giving
to
it our
do them
full
at a high
attention.
level. We don't do them half-assed, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it definitely felt like, I totally relate. I feel like
So instead of dragging it on like Brett Favre's retirement. Can I say that?
You can say Brett Favre's retirement.
Instead of dragging it on, like,
Or
are we
Aaron
going to
Rodgers,
stop? Are we going to keep
possibly.
going? Are we going to
You'd
play? Are we going to?
pick your Packers
Yeah.
quarterback.
And I
right?
love Brett Favre, so you
Yeah.
know, I'm not. But we needed to make a decision that wasn't going to be something that we were going to keep putting out episodes that weren't high quality or going to be
Correct.
impactful.
or be able to back it up after we stop meeting, after we're done creating the episodes.
And now there's no
not
post,
talk
no-
about it,
yeah.
not come onto our
Correct.
socials and
Correct.
promote it. And
Correct.
even I think back to when we first started, how many times did we say like, we need to get some professional photos of us?
Yeah.
We've never done it.
And there's
We
two
never-
photographers in the room.
And then
Correct. Like,
I
I'm
have a
looking back
friend,
at our old
I have a
yeah.
friend, Teresa, she was here on the episode. Teresa
Yeah,
Schrader,
love
she
Teresa.
started her own podcast, and
Yep.
her picture is so eye-catching. And I'm like, dang, we should
Right?
have gotten like
True,
some
yeah.
professional
First of
photos.
all,
And we're two
we just hate her
photographers,
because
like-
she's so beautiful and so incredible and so
I love-
talented and so
yeah,
wonderful.
And I feel like we-
incredible.
We hate her in the
I think-
nicest way possible.
Correct.
Right.
We love
no,
her.
we love you, Teresa.
Love you.
I think the heart for all of us was there and it was behind it. But I think that, like, I know for me personally, I'm speaking for myself here, like my personal life got in the way a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of took a hiatus from social media last year for a lot of the year. I look
Yeah.
back actually just a couple weeks ago when I started to kind of plan some content, and I was like, wow, I really wasn't present in the social media space for a lot of 2024.
Yeah.
And that wasn't because I didn't want to be. It was because I had to prioritize my personal life over the other things. And
Sure.
so that's where like it just like things fell through the cracks for me, and it made it tough to show up.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think entrepreneurs can all relate. I mean, there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's
YouTube.
Spotify,
Yeah.
there's YouTube. And then if you have your hands in multiple baskets where Allie as the person is working on influencing, Allie is the photographer, Baxter is the person, Baxter as Colburn Creative, Baxter as now the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going on Instagram and we're checking 15 different platforms
Yeah.
on any given day.
Totally.
If we're just Baxter or Mandi or Allie, and now
Actually, check one.
we're multiple, it's just too much.
Yeah. I think at the beginning, it's really important to kind of state that this was a passion project
Yeah.
that kind of came to life for all of us.
On
And we
accident.
didn't really have like a
We didn't have
5-year goal with
Yeah,
the
I was gonna say,
podcast.
there
We're like,
wasn't
let's
anything
just
we were
do
running
it.
after,
Yeah.
Let's do it to say we did it. Let's
Yeah, let's try it.
Let's like not, I don't know, diminish the value that it's had for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Because
Agreed.
it has created really awesome avenues for all three of us to create conversation and to have that, I don't know, just that reputation kind of, we stuck with it for 2
Yeah.
years. And like you said at the beginning,
way
it's,
more than most people.
a lot of people don't make it that far, but also to have 3 people with 3 different personalities, with 3 different lives,
Yep.
with families, with all the things, still just retain that friendship through it all too. And
Yeah.
like we even said on our last phone call, like we want to kind of just like get together and get
Like, let's
coffee.
have dinner.
100%.
And like not have to necessarily do the podcast. And I think there's beauty in realizing that, right? Like we
Correct.
value each other's friendships and we will always support each other, but there are other areas. Baxter, you started Iconic Creators, which has been taking off and such an amazing kind of shift for you in talking to the creative entrepreneur. And I feel like, there's other things that are happening for us that are really big and really good. And I feel like if we hadn't done this for the last 2 years, where would we be with all of that, right?
Right, exactly right. And I think that is a testament also just to the relationships that we've all built, right? Like I think about the question you asked in the beginning, right? Of like, where were you 2 years ago, right? Like I was working a job full time, was pregnant with our third, right? With Owen, like all of that stuff.
Had
like
just gotten married.
Yeah, I'd just gotten married a couple months before that, right? Like I looked back at our Instagram and November 7th was the first time we had posted in 2023. So like thinking about life at that point in November of 23, right? And like just all the things that go with that, but like just that support and that continuous growth on all of our sides, right? Of like
Yeah.
what that looks like. Or if we were having off days, right? Like we're not always people. It's surprising to everybody. Not all 3 of us are at 100 every single time we see each other.
I
We
am.
get together, right? Except for Mandi. Mandi's all
Right.
Mandi carried the show. But the nice part about having 3 people though is that like if I was off or Allie was off or Mandi was off, like we picked each other up, we encouraged each other, or we
It
just kinda,
wasn't
like,
usually the
carried
same day that we were all down.
Thankfully, yeah.
Yeah.
You normally
Yeah.
had those moments, or if something was stressing us out or an email was sitting in our inbox that we didn't want to answer and we were thinking about our response as opposed to talking to whoever, right, that was with us that day. Like I looked through our Instagram before this just to look back at like the evolution of the show a little bit, and just
I didn't do that. I kind of want to
just
now.
pulled it up.
yeah, it was fascinating to me, like
I can't
just
see anything.
everything as a whole, right? Like December 6th was the first episode that actually aired because we recorded a month ahead, right?
That was back when we had a strategy on when our recording date.
Exactly. Yeah, my
Oh my
brother.
God,
my brother
Your
Seth.
brother
Coming on as a guest was I think it was our first guest, and then Raleigh being on, right, and
Oh yeah.
Sadie, and like very family focused right out of the gate because we weren't sure if we wanted to do any guests, right? Like we had
Right.
that discussion right early on of like, and if we do, let's keep it pretty close and tight, and then. Yep. Yeah.
can't-
The very
that might
first.
pull up.
Yeah. I loved that one. But then we started to expand, right? Like we had, Alicia Forsberg. We had the conversation we had with Summer Rich, right? It still sticks in my head as one of the best conversations we've ever had, and just like
Her
learning,
why.
Yeah, her why, and just learning everything that we did
Like,
about.
I just
her,
wanted to give
just, like-
baskets because someone gave me a kidney.
Right.
Literally.
Exactly. Like, oh.
What?
Okay.
Talk
right?
about
Like,
inspiration behind
yeah,
why you do a job.
You hear that kind of stuff, right?
Literally,
And
yeah.
those moments that stick with you. And then I feel like we really had that surge when we started to have like you mentioned, like Libby Carlson on, and like Teresa, and then the Holdens on, and like things just started. It felt like we were at a different level at that point, and then the momentum kind of kept growing from there. But just the diversity of the people that we've been able to talk to, right, the last 2 years, and the
Yeah.
different stories, because it's not like we stuck in one lane and so we're only going to talk to this type of
Right.
business owner. Like we've talked to, I have no other reason to be in the same room as Liza Holden, right? Like just our paths just don't cross in the work that we do, but being in the room, talking to them, like, or multiple other people that we've talked to, right? Like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
learn and you pick up pieces that you're like, how can I apply that to what I'm doing? I
Right.
love that.
And I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest takeaways for me personally is in all the entrepreneurs that I know in Green Bay, and I know a lot of them because
You
that's
do?
my job,
Yeah.
right?
Literally,
Is
yeah.
to know
You know everyone.
business owners. Well, I don't know about that.
The great
but
connector.
one of my biggest takeaways comes back to this room and the two of you, because I'm going to get emotional, but like
We're not supposed to cry.
we've and I really don't anymore. No, we've been through really tough things in our businesses and in our personal lives,
Yep.
right? All at different seasons.
Totally.
And when I try to be very selective with who I share things with, because you just don't know what's going to get out in the community. So that's one thing that in the past 5 years, I've really worked hard on, is who I share what with. And there is never a time ever that I don't feel I can pick up the phone and call either one of you. And I know that the conversation I'm having stays right there.
Yes.
I love that.
And that is hard to find.
Yes.
Totally.
It's
That is very hard to find. I never, if I share something with you personally or professionally, I never have to worry about it getting to anybody else in this community.
Right. It's a
And
safe space.
it is.
and that is a remarkable quality that both of you have. And I
And
think that's amazing.
With or without a podcast, we all have that.
Yes.
So
We do.
100%.
It's so cool to look at that and say that takeaway isn't just ending today.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's going to live on in our relationship
100%.
forever. And whatever that looks like in terms of podcasts or avenues that we take next, like we're still going to be that safe space for each other.
And I also think that as much of an advocate and a cheerleader we are of each other, I don't think any one of the three of us are going to bullshit each other either. Can
No.
I say
Right.
that?
You can say
We're
that.
going
It's the last episode.
to bullshit each other either, because if
I'm going to go off now.
if I'm out of line, I think both of you would have the confidence and the ability to say, "Hey, Mandi,
Yep.
take
Yeah.
a step back for a second."
Yeah.
I think you could look at it this way. You wouldn't be like, "You're an idiot. You're out of line." You would say it in a tactful, nice way, but I think both of you would call me out on it.
Sure.
Right. And
Even just providing constructive criticism for each other, I think is
Right.
really
Yeah.
important, which I
Yeah.
feel like we all have that.
we all have that.
And I know for a fact I've gone to both of you numerous times over the last 4 years in my business to say, "Hey, Mandi, how did you do this?" Or, "Hey, Allie, like, I don't know how to work a camera, like how to like all that." And you guys have always, it's never been demeaning. It's never been like, "Well, obviously stupid. This
Yeah, you
is how
moron."
you figure it out,
Right.
right?"
Like, how do I post
you
a
turn
video
the camera
clip?
on. Oh, got it. Okay, right.
There it
Like,
is.
How do
Take
I
the
post
lens
this
cap off.
media
Yeah.
Baxter, take the lens
yep,
cap off.
exactly, right? Like, but like that, I think that's
To turn the power button on.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That speaks to the character of both of you as well, right? Like we've all benefited from each other in some capacity, right? The last couple of years, and to feel like we can be raw and honest, that we can cry in front of each other, the emotions, right? Like I think of all the different things that have happened even off the microphone, right? Of just having conversations with each other, right? Like, when I met Allie, I don't even know how many years I've known you, 6 years, something like that. Yeah, a long time, right? Like the context isn't important, but to be in the spot, whatever that was, a year or so ago, where Allie was having a hard day and she broke down crying, and I was able to just be there and hug her. But the fact that she did that in front of me, I was like, that still sticks with me, because I'm like, felt like I was at a different level in our relationship that day. Right.
Right.
Like just things like that, right? That it's like, that doesn't
like if I was really in trouble, who are the handful of people I could
exactly
call?
Totally.
Right. Yeah, I know I'd have to call Allie like 5 or 6 times before she'd answer, but I know
Because she doesn't respond.
She's a couple
if you're
calls
dying,
away.
she might.
She's a couple. If
We
it's a
love
group text,
you.
I will die. Like I can't.
You should send that in an individual
apologize about that.
message, not in a group text
she's
in the
one of the
podcast.
fastest.
That's not just the two of you. Listeners that know me personally know that that's just me as a
Sadie's
person. My
right.
family can't stand me
They
because I don't even.
We're like,
Where's Allie? We don't know. Is she showing up today? Yeah, I show up. Oh,
anybody
sorry. Yeah, I
I
didn't even.
thought she was active on Instagram. Where is she?
Oh
Why
my
is
gosh,
she
she's
not?
so
posting
funny.
right now.
That reminds me of a meme I saw of like the Taurus, like, because I'm a Taurus, and it's like the April, that just like energy of like, you'll see me post on Instagram, but I won't reply to your text for a week. I was going to send it to our group chat because I was like, this
that's
is
so
You don't need to. We already know that.
You don't have to
Like,
see
we know
it to
she's
know.
alive,
but it
but-
is so true that
We
is
all
the
have
person
our
I am,
our
and I feel bad about
weaknesses,
it.
right?
Yep.
And Allie's is the group chat. That's her weakness. She has so many strengths.
My weakness is all group chats,
All group chats.
not just one. Every
Dang it,
single
I
group
thought
chat.
we were special.
Every single group chat I'm a part of, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig on why I
You
am
should
that
research
way.
that. Taurus is
Maybe
in
I have
group
to heal
chat.
something about myself because group
Did you get
chats
hurt
just
by a group chat as a kid? Like,
maybe, maybe.
What happened?
What happened with the group
Maybe.
chat?
I
Group
feel
chat
like there's
trauma.
something there because I cringe. Group chats make me cringe.
So one thing that I want to touch on, and I want to be mindful of our time. So I want to kind of tell our 7 listeners right now, what's next.
Yeah.
And I think 2025 is a new outlook. It was a new year. I think the 3 of us all came in stronger entrepreneurs, stronger personally, stronger in what our whys are. We talked about goals. We talked about bingo cards. We talked about, the new year. But let's talk about what's next for Allie. What's next?
Oh gosh, what's next?
We've
for me?
already been seeing it.
Yeah, a lot of
We're
things.
already seeing it.
I think looking back, I know what's next, but looking back, I've always loved style, right? Like that's been something that I've been very transparent about. And
And you're so good at it.
before I had Wesley, I was doing that all the time. And I took a 3-year hiatus basically from posting that type of content, probably because I was more so really falling victim to the imposter syndrome that I experienced and not necessarily feeling great in my skin, and mentally I just was struggling. And I have done so much inner work for the past 8-9 months that I am not going to waste another day not pursuing style, personal style, helping people find themselves through personal style, and understanding that, we all have to get dressed every day. So you might as well make it fun or make it exciting. It's one of the reasons that I pulled myself out of a really terrible mental state.
Right.
And it's something that I can't stop thinking about. So I feel like that's a sign from the universe that I'm meant to
100%.
do something in the content creation style world. And so I am evolving and I'm taking it day by day, and I am working towards just building a reputable business through content creation with personal style and expressing myself through my clothes, and hopefully creating a sense of community where women can feel like they can do the same, and men, not just women, people of all, I just want to create a community where open conversation about mental health and how getting dressed in the morning can change the way that you feel about your day
100%.
and change the way that you show up. And I'm reading a book right now, and one of the topics is like getting dressed should be the easiest part of your day, and it's just not. And for every person that I speak to, they're just like, it's not. It's just not. Like for women, for men, for women,
stress.
essentially, it's this unnecessary stressor. How is my closet set up? I can't find this one t-shirt that I want to wear, whatever. And ultimately, the way I view it is I want to be able to get dressed in the morning so that I can go out in the world and do what I do at the best possible degree that I can.
Yeah.
And when I am in something that I love and when I'm in something that I'm comfortable in and I'm wearing clothes that make me feel truly like myself, I show up as the
Authentic.
best version of myself.
Yeah.
And so that it goes so much deeper than clothing. It's not this materialistic piece. It's such a deeper meaning for me.
Yeah.
So portraying that to the world. So I'm going to pursue that, and all while still doing the photography and doing everything that I'm doing. And I didn't tell you guys this, but it was so cute.
You're hearing it here first.
You're hearing it here first. And I don't know if anything will come of it, but I'll say it out to the universe.
No, wait.
Addie,
rephrase that. You've learned on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
and I don't
When
wanna
it comes into fruition.
If something happens. So I was taking the phone call, and I'm going to be like totally like transparent here. I was watching Wicked with Addie when you guys called.
Oh,
I'm like, crap, I forgot about the phone call.
Oh, funny.
So you call, I paused the movie because Addie was on spring break.
Yep.
I paused the movie because we're watching Wicked. I had never seen Wicked before.
Yeah.
You guys, it's been out this long and I never
Yeah.
saw it.
Good. So good.
And it's for rent on Amazon Prime for $6 right now instead of $20, just so you know.
Perfect.
And
Plug.
we're watching it and we're sitting there talking, and I have you guys on speakerphone, and Addie's sitting next to me.
Oh, boy.
Shit.
And we're talking, and everybody in the house is listening. And I'm like,
my
I don't
word.
care at this point. Like, we're having this conversation. I take you guys off speakerphone once we start talking about like kind of the
Yeah.
details and stuff. But then I get off the phone and we're sitting there for a little bit. And Addie comes up to me and she goes, "Wait, Mom, so now that you're not going to do the podcast anymore, that means you have time for something else, right?" And I was like, I mean, theoretically,
sure.
yes.
I mean,
what do you have in mind?
Yeah.
I love
What do you have in mind? And she walks up to me, and I'm going to show you guys what she made. Casually, just like while we were sitting there, she casually made this
Is it an art thing?
document.
That's a
And
document.
it's a document.
She's an entrepreneur
And
in the making.
She goes, "Does this mean we can start our own podcast?" And she literally made this, and it's called the Mini Me Podcast.
Oh,
and
my
she was
word.
like, "I want to do a podcast with you where we talk about all the things that, like the age gap and you having me as a young mom, and like you being a young mom and having me." And it was just like her whole aura just lit up, and she was like, and then she just like shamelessly says, I mean, I have been waiting for like a year and a half to be a guest on your podcast.
Oh my God. McGuire is the same. She's like, when do I get to be on your podcast? When do I get to be on your podcast?
And I was like, you are so right. And so
That's amazing.
even if we don't make it a big thing, I think I'm just going to start recording
Do
things
it.
with her, because I told her, I was like, the first episode should first of all be breaking down your slang, because so many people don't understand what skibbity toilet is.
Oh my God.
So it was just funny.
bet.
Bet.
I mean, I think I said that in the right
like,
Sigma.
slay.
you know,
Yeah.
slay
Cap,
queen.
Ohio.
YOLO.
Slayness. She told me today, I Snapchatted her, and she's like, "Where are you on your way to in that cute hat?" That's what she said to me. And I was like, "I'm on my way to work." And she goes, "Slayness queen." I was like,
Thank you.
Love you.
McGuire's been saying something about but it's not fire. It's something else. And I'm like, what does that even mean? She's like, "Mom, it means you look good." I was like,
Did you-
Oh,
"Can
that you
just say-"
ate?
You ate?
Oh, I ate.
You
Yeah.
ate.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I
Mom,
didn't
you
eat
ate.
anything.
Yeah.
Like, no,
You ate.
We're not having dinner right now. It's 3:00. She's like, no, you ate. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, you ate in that outfit, Mandy.
Yeah,
You
I
look-
get
okay,
it.
anyway, yeah. So
I don't
I'm like, okay, that could be a thing.
whole
I mean,
episode.
Do it.
from the
Do it.
mouths
Do
of
it.
babes.
I do think that I don't think that she would ever admit this, but her watching me and listening to the podcast, me pouring myself into a piece of work that maybe doesn't necessarily pay me money, but
100%.
seeing how happy it has made me,
Yeah.
she has picked up on, oh wait, like we could do something like that. And I just see the drive in her to be more of like a lot like me. Like, she's very driven. She wants to do something in the creative world. She loves
love that.
content creation. She loves doing the TikTok dances. I mean, who doesn't?
And
But
let's be honest, she's been a part of your journey.
she has.
Yeah.
She's
A big part of
She's
your
actually
journey.
the reason for my journey. Like,
Yeah.
after I had her, I lost 100 pounds. Like, that is the reason.
Yeah.
I found myself through style because I lost so much weight.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever said that out loud on the podcast before. And people
don't
don't know
think-
that about me.
They don't.
People don't see me and be like, "Oh yeah, she lost so much weight and she documented it and all that stuff." I didn't. I did the hard work behind the scenes, and then I found the confidence through that. So
Right.
anyway, what's next for me is that I have just the content creation space that I'm really going to pour
that.
I love
myself
that.
into. So
Do
I love
that
that.
podcast. She will treasure that forever.
I feel
if you
like
do
it's
that.
just kind of, it's
Yeah.
got to be something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. She created that. She made that herself. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm crying.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's a huge compliment as
Huge
a parent
compliment.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
thinking about that, like I joke with people all the time. I'm like, I'm going to keep spending as much time and playing with my kids until they think I'm not cool. And hopefully that day never comes, right? That they don't
Right.
think I'm cool because
It
they
will.
still ask. I know. And but I'm like, the
Yeah.
hope though, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like my kids still ask me to play with them. They still ask me to do stuff with them all the time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope that never goes away. I hope it'll transition. Hey, you want to go play golf? Hey, you want to go?
Yeah.
do
It'll
whatever, right?
transition
Like-
to being cool to hang out with.
Right, exactly,
I was
right?
gonna say-
Like, I'm hoping that'll translate to things as they go through life, right? Like,
It'll translate to randomly on Sunday night, I get a text at like 7 p.m. from Addie saying, are we going to Florida? Can we go to Florida tomorrow?
Yeah, like, sure.
Like if that's how you want to spend time with me.
Like, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
it'll transition into that when they're
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. Like, let's go on big trips.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
perfect.
when you have a 19-year-old son that texts you and says, hey, are you home? The boys and I want to come over and hang
I
out.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that usually means they want food though.
That's
But,
fine.
you know, and
There you go.
a couch and a big TV to watch a
Mm-hmm.
sporting event on. That's usually a pay-per-view type thing.
Yeah.
But I'll take it. I'll
Yeah,
take
whatever gets
yeah.
in the door.
I
Yeah.
love
What
it.
about you, Baxter? What's next?
Boy, yeah. I mean,
You've kind of already evolved into it.
yeah.
One of the many.
absolutely, right. October of 24, I went full time in Colburn Creative. Right after the full time marketing job that I was working, the position got dissolved because they restructured the marketing department at the
Yeah.
company that I was at. Right, but those 3.5 years shaped me into so much of what I do now. Right, and I'm so grateful for that, and they know that, and it's all good things. I don't have
Yeah.
bad blood against that at all.
Right.
So. For me, I think the biggest things right now are really continuing to lean into what it means to be an entrepreneur every single day, right? Running my own business. I think I keep playing okay, well, we got through January. Okay, what about February? Oh, we got through February. Okay, right? So like I've really learned to just stop worrying and just start doing, and whatever God's going to do, God's going to do, and I just
Yeah.
need to be okay with that. So
Love that.
I've been wanting to for a long time, but I feel like, and this could have been a great episode at some point, but like talking about being a Christian business owner is so hard, unfortunately, because the way that I operate my business on a daily basis, and I don't want to go down to a big rabbit hole, but like the constant belief that like, I know if I put in the hard work, God will take care of the rest. Right?
It's a lot
Like,
of
type
faith and a
thing.
lot of trust.
Yep,
Most
exactly.
business owners don't have that.
And that's a hard
Totally.
concept to communicate to other people that don't get that.
They're
or
like,
don't
what do you
have
mean
that
you don't have a goal?
relationship.
Yeah.
Yep,
Right.
exactly, right. And it's not that I'm not, because some people are like, you're not driven. You're like, I'm like, no. It's not that like I'm doing everything I know I physically
You're
can
fulfilling
control.
God's plan for your
Yep,
business.
exactly. The rest is going to take care of itself, right? God knows my life. He knows the seasons of my life. He knows what I can and can't handle in this season, and the right opportunities will happen at the right time, right? So it's been a quieter start to 25, which is okay because Owen has been a lot because he just doesn't sleep a lot. We were sick a ton to start the year, so like my schedule wasn't as full, which is great. So
Right.
now the starting up of late spring, summer, everything else is really starting to look really busy, which is wonderful. So continuing to just push heavy into now having a new employee with Kaylin that joined my team 2 weeks ago.
Great, which-
2 weeks
yeah,
ago. Which is a
congratulations.
huge,
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. Which
That's
is
amazing.
a huge thing, right? So that wasn't on my bingo card. That wasn't a goal of mine in 25. Like she was a happy accident that I'm so grateful for.
I love that.
She's done a great job so far. So
Love happy accidents.
yeah,
Yeah.
more mentoring, pouring into her. Vacation rentals continue to just be a huge thing that we do consistently. I was telling Allie before this, I'm working on finding out if I get to go to North Carolina in April to shoot a house, right? Like just random things like this.
What date did you need us there?
Yeah, the 16th, if you want
Okay,
to fly out
perfect.
for me. So,
Amazing.
Yeah, come on out, right? So just things like that where I just kind of keep laughing and be like, all right, God, like, sounds good.
Send me
Like,
there.
wherever you want to
Thank
go.
you.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've
Praise.
said it on the show 100 times, right? Like I don't have a specific genre or niche that I work in all the time. I just love working with good people, right? Like, and if I can continue to work with good people, I know that I'll be happy. Right?
And you're
Like,
in the right place.
Correct.
You're right where you're meant to be.
Exactly
if
right.
if you still get to work with those good people.
Yep. Exactly.
And that opens up so many doors because
Correct.
those good people tell they're good people, and then you
Yep.
get to work with more good people.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's that joy that I get to have on a daily basis, right? Like I hear people talk about how much they hate their jobs, or even entrepreneurs that are like, oh my God, like I have hard
The
days.
grind.
I have hard days. Yes. I will be the first to admit that, right? Like that is okay. But I have a lot of joy in what I do every single day when I wake up, right? Like the flexibility that I do have to pick up my kids from school and drop them off every day and just everything that comes along with it, as well as just the diversity of the work I do, right?
And I think that's a huge topic to just, I mean, again, could have been a whole nother podcast episode for us. But I mean, I think I can count on one hand the number of days that I've had to do something that I don't like in 7 years in this business.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
One hand.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, I can hear one hand worth of stuff in an hour in some people's lives.
I do think that a mindset comes into that.
Yep.
There are just some really,
we get this opportunity.
I think some people are just cranky.
They are.
Like they
It's
are
true.
just, you know what I mean? I think for me personally, because how you bring up God, like the past however many months, I've really built I've been intentional about deepening my faith and creating this consistent relationship with God in my business, because I feel so conflicted in certain areas in my life that I'm like, wait a second, this is not in my hands. So I relate to you in that, because God you're putting that hard work and you're showing up every day and you're doing the work. And then God carries you through.
Correct. Yeah.
As
It's a sense of peace that, like, unless you have experienced it before, right? Like that's, once again, it's a whole other episode, right? But like, it's so hard to explain it unless you've felt it, right? Like, and I'm eternally grateful.
Yeah.
And I think being open to receiving like this text from Addie or this picture of Addie with you guys doing the podcast, it maybe wasn't your plan.
Right.
But sometimes this is how God speaks to us.
Totally.
Yes.
And
right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you can't come up with this idea on your own, I'm going to hit you over the head with it. So detailed that there's even a cover photo for your podcast.
Yes, exactly.
And make sure that you do something like that.
Yeah,
so I think
100%.
I think that's amazing.
And then you have Iconic Creators as well that has,
Yeah, I started a new podcast in January called Iconic Creators that's designed to have conversations with people in the creative space, but not just photo and video. I've already emailed people that are bakers, that are fitness, that are in real estate, that are all over the place, right? Because we think of creatives as like, oh, you're only a videographer, only a photographer. No. Like
paint.
We're in creative in so many different ways, right? So being able to have those conversations with people. I've talked to some of our former guests like Maggie Cox and Summer Rich and a couple others, right? That create in their own veins, right? So that's been really nice for me. I realized how much, because of my broadcasting background, how much I miss consistently doing something or being, I guess, a lead host or
like an interviewer. Almost.
Yeah, an interview. I love doing that, right? And that's one thing I've been very grateful to do over the years, that I feel like I can do really well at a high level. I can ask good questions, I can listen, and I can direct a good conversation. So to be in that, what's that?
You can.
Thank
you.
I
think it's part of the reason why the Real Chat has been growing at such a great level.
Yeah.
Because
he's intentional with the question.
You drive the bus really well.
Yeah.
Something I'm not really good at. You do a very good job with it. I do think you keep the structure of a show, and it does, like, it's the same thing as like a creative. When you're creative, you have it. Like when you're a creative entrepreneur, you get it. When if you know type situation. You're one of those people that just, you get the podcast space. You understand how to run an interview, and I feel like it has been like really, really critical for the growth of the Real Chat podcast.
That means a lot, truly. I really appreciate that. So yeah, that's been a fun thing to do. We've had, I want to say 12 episodes, something like that have come out so far. So, and more to come and more conversations. So it's people that I know, people that I don't know. So that's been a fun piece of it as well, just to kind of connect more people that way. So excited to see what the future holds of that. That's a fun passion project, and excited to just kind of see what happens.
Well, and I'm sure it's hard to, as someone who helps people with podcasts and produces podcasts and brings all the equipment in, and then you're never behind the mic anymore.
Correct.
Like
I missed it.
It's like the athlete that becomes a coach. They miss playing, right?
Totally.
So you miss that element. 100%. So it gives you full control.
Correct.
Over what you want to talk about.
Yep. Yeah. That's a great outlet too, right? Because I can have conversations with people, especially when you get that good guest that knows how to answer your questions, but then also ask questions back at times too, right? And it's not about me, it's about the guest, but to just feel like we can have a dialogue similar to conversations we've had. I'm like, okay, this is a wonderful thing to do, and try to keep that all under 30 minutes is really a fun challenge and a fun task to be a part of.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
What about you, Mandy? What's next for you?
Mandy's launching a podcast.
What?
Yeah.
Yay.
That's huge.
We're all going off on our own podcasts.
We're all
Yeah.
going
I
off
love
on our own.
Which was not the initial reason.
No,
That was
not
not the
at
initial
all.
goal,
Nothing to
right?
do with
Like,
it.
just I want
so
people to
cool.
be aware of that.
Yeah, we're not
Absolutely.
dissolving this one to start our own thing.
We like
that
boy
was
bands
not
that are breaking up to all have our own solo.
Oh, no,
careers?
no.
Yeah,
I feel
because-
like it's
Are we
going to
One
be so
Direction?
cool, though.
the general conversation around me starting one was I don't really have a timeline that I need to do it by
Correct.
or want to do it by. So kind of, first of all, nothing's changing with the magazine.
Yeah.
That is always going to be my goal and my desire to be the most successful area director I can be.
Yeah.
And really my drive for 2025 was to be a better community leader. I have a platform to do it, so I need to utilize the platform. So that was my own personal goal for 2025 is just to be a better community leader. And I'm working really hard on that. But I think, and Allie, you've mentioned this time and time again on the podcast, as entrepreneurs and as a driven person, there's always more. We always want the next thing. Like, what is the next life change? What is the
Yes.
next trip? What is the next, like, we're driven for more.
It keeps life interesting.
It does.
Keeps, like,
As an
and-
entrepreneur.
It has, yeah.
Yeah. And now someone who's been doing the magazine for 7 years, I was like, okay, what is next for me? It's not a career change at almost 50 years old. It's not that. It's my kids are doing their own thing now. They're adulting and they're doing their own thing. So they don't need me the same.
Yeah.
So I started trying to kind of think about long-term. I'm trying to be a better long-term thinker and, could I potentially have the opportunity for an exit strategy down the road, 10 years down the road? And it stemmed back to 8 years ago. I declared out loud 100 times over that I was going to write a book. Mm-hmm. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, I knew what it would be about. But I'm not, what I've learned, and it's hard for me to like vocalize this because it sounds egotistical, but for some reason, people are drawn to listening to what I have to say.
Yeah.
In certain areas
it's a true statement,
of my
yeah.
life. I've been blessed in when I put stuff out on social media, it tends to get not the following that you get, Allie, but I can sincerely connect with people. I don't know.
100%.
I don't
You're really
know why
good at
it's
that.
You are very
a
good at
gift,
that.
but I think it's something that I haven't really utilized as a talent to potentially maybe be a stream of revenue down the road. Maybe not.
I think it's a calling for you, for
Yeah.
sure, because it's such a genuine thing.
And I think it's also very much for me part of a healing process that I've avoided.
Yeah.
Because nobody enjoys opening old wounds or anything like that, but I do think it's necessary. And I just came to the conclusion that I'm probably, oh, hi, Mackenzie.
Former guest Mackenzie
Squirrel.
Adams walking by.
That I'm probably never going to write the book that I've said. Like, I'm not a writer. I don't have any desire to find a publisher or to sit down and, but I do have this passion and ability to share and talk and speak. So that's what's next. I think we have a name. Should I say that?
You do?
Ooh, you can.
I just got
think
chills.
I think
News
it's
to me.
confirmed, yeah.
Yeah,
Last
I think
checked, it
we
was
kind of, we were
confirmed, yeah.
researching to make
Okay,
sure
let
it
me know,
wasn't
let me know,
taken.
let me know. Tell me.
My unperfect life.
I love it.
Un is going to be in little letters and perfect with a line through it. Part of which, because I feel like that was kind of what my definition was when I was younger and growing up. Like, I came from a good family and a small community. Everybody knew us. We were strong Christians. We were good athletes. We were good students. And it was like, oh, they're the perfect.
You're
She's
pretty.
the perfect,
Yeah.
and it was bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of I had a great life. I had a great family, great parents, wonderful. Like, and this is part of the premises of the podcast is
It's like a Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
right? Is
Right.
it's not perfect. Things aren't perfect. And I remember going through some life things where I made some poor choices, and some of it was public, some of it was private. And the truth is that I'm ready to share some of
love
it.
it.
And I had the opposite. I will tell you, I think I called you and said, maybe I need to maybe hold off, because I had the opposite of what you had with Addie. I sat down at dinner and told Raleigh, I'm ready, pulling the trigger. We have a name, we have a date on the calendar. And she was like, I don't want anything to do with it. And I love her, and I love her independence, and I love her passion. But she's like, Mom, It's your story, not my story, and you can share it, but I don't want to be tagged. I don't want to be talked about. I don't want to be. And I was like, wow. Like,
did that blindside you a little bit, or
100%, especially after having her on this one?
Yeah.
100%. But what it did to me is it made me really dive into some of the topics that because I've been putting topics down for 8 years, right?
Right.
Dive into some of the topics and say, okay, I need to be sure 100% if I'm going to talk about something that it is either 100% factual truth, or I declare this was my interpretation or how I felt.
Right.
Correct.
Or I have
or
to
an emotional,
state that.
like,
Yep.
I have to be clear on that, because I know when it's a healing journey, emotions can overtake facts.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
And that, I think, is her biggest concern. And of course, she loves her dad.
Yeah, of course.
And you know what? Rightfully so. So she knows that her mom doesn't care about what people think anymore. And I think that can be a great quality, but also a terrifying quality.
Dangerous.
and she feels a little caught in the middle at that
She
point,
feels,
too.
yes. And I get it. And
I could see my boys reacting that way too if I ever did something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just want to protect them and maintain those relationships.
And I think you can take it, like, I was mad at first. And then I was like, because I'm like, well, if you want to someday share your story about being a child of a divorce or whatever, like,
yeah.
that's
Go
your
for it.
story, right?
Yeah.
And she's like,
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. But I also think, in a way that she doesn't even realize, it was a huge compliment that she thinks that I'm going to have that many people listening and paying attention.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's actually worried about what people might think if I share about my church hurt, or if I share about this topic of my divorce, or if I share about this experience.
Yeah.
She thinks this is going to go somewhere. And it was actually that conversation that led me to believe that I can make something from it.
Interesting.
I love that.
Other than Baxter telling me.
And I think,
Yeah, for sure people will
well,
follow you.
obviously, yeah. I think that's a no-brainer.
Well,
Correct.
And I
it's
think
it's hard when you're putting yourself out there. Like when you put on a fashion post and you're like, will one person like it?
Yeah.
And
I'm over it now.
One of my
I don't care anymore
episodes.
if I only get 12 likes. I don't care, because
Yeah.
I'm doing what I love.
Do you hide your like counts?
Yeah, they're hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one
Yeah.
of my topics is the F and heart button.
Yeah.
Thumbs up button, the F and
Well,
heart
I mean, it
button.
sucks. For
Yeah.
me, it actually helps me. The reason why I do it is because I just don't care anymore. I just don't.
So you hide it from yourself?
I don't see them.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I
Yeah.
don't. It's a thing for me where I'm like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
I want to be able
for
to
you.
post what I like without worrying about the loves, without worrying about what people
Yeah.
like it. Because ultimately people are going to love what you do and people are going to hate what you do, and they're going to
Correct.
talk either way.
Yeah.
And we know that.
And they're
about
going
so
to
many
tell
areas.
you what they think about it. That was unprofessional. That was
And
this. That was that.
ultimately,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
your life.
It's
It's your
your
story.
life.
It's your life. It's what you are trying to put out to the world. And
If you don't want to
and-
listen, don't listen.
yeah, and
but
those
guess who
people can
listens? The
easily
people that hate
unfollow
you.
and they can move on with
Correct.
their life.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you will always have people that are like keyboard warriors and stuff like that. But ultimately, this is your story.
Yeah.
Your kids are a part of it.
Yep.
Who knows if within the next 2 years, we just talked about where we came from the last 2
Yeah.
years. In the next 2 years, Raleigh might see this journey and see these topics evolve and see what's happening and be like, Mom, I'm ready to talk about this with you.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk about being a child of divorce.
Yeah.
And help other kids that are like me and help other kids that are navigating this in the real time now. I've been through it. I lived through
Right.
it. I'm ready to help other kids.
Yep.
And you're never going to push that on her. You're never going to
Right.
make it something that she has to do. But just like this space allowed us to grow and evolve and move to the next step, who's to say that's not going to be that for her?
Right.
You-
And I
that-
mean,
in that-
I don't want people to think that I'm starting this to have a bashing.
No.
I mean,
Absolutely
that's not what it's about. But it's interesting because we just had a situation that I actually had to talk to my ex about, and it was a great conversation, which I was like, oh, thank God we're here. We've gotten here.
Got to
right.
that point, yeah.
But it wasn't addressed in our divorce decree because it was written about our minor children.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We have 2 children that aren't minors anymore. So it's up for
Life is different.
interpretation. It's
Yeah.
how he interprets it. I interpret it. The attorney interprets it. The accountant interprets. And I just picked up the phone and I was like, can we just talk through this? Like, and can we just agree on what we're going to do this year and revisit next year? And he's like, yeah, cool. I'm like, amazing, right?
Great.
But now
Wow.
if I can talk about that situation
Yep.
and help somebody to prepare differently for it so they don't have this anxiety that I dealt with 8 years later. I was like,
Correct.
oh my God, I don't want to call because I don't know. Am I doing something wrong? If I can help somebody prevent that, that's the goal. So
I love it.
100%.
I think the number one goal is my healing. The number two goal is if it could be an exit strategy for my retirement plan. I'm not that far away, guys.
No.
I'm not that far away from my retirement. Like, think about that.
I think too, your story can help others get through certain scenarios and situations that they go through in their life as well.
I am 100% sure that you have had people reach out to you since you've shared your journey about postpartum depression.
Yeah.
That are coming out of the woodwork saying,
Yeah.
thank you. I feel heard. I feel seen. I'm not alone. Somebody like you. People are astonished at some of the things that I went through because they think I have this perfect life.
Right. I love it.
I'm like, it's not. It's, yes. So that's where we're at.
No,
That's where we're at.
and I think that's such a beautiful thing to show, though, in the sense of like what you have overcome, and I think the podcast as a whole, right? You've proven a ton. I feel like the last 2 years, because I think initially you're like, yeah, like this podcast thing is interesting, but I don't know. But like you've done such a great job of growing too, and it's a different game. I will tell you as a piece of advice, it's a different game when you don't have two other people to bail
100%.
you out, right?
Yeah.
In the sense of like if you run out of something to talk about, you're like this is hard. Like
Yeah.
I'll be there with you, but I'm not on the
Right.
microphone with you, right? Like
Right.
I'll be there helping you with it, but like it's a different thing, right? So allow yourself
Yeah.
to feel those emotions, allow yourself to
And I
be
think to be
honest and-
vulnerable enough to, I've never felt like I've had a loss for words, but I think when I was thinking about this the other day, because how I envision it, and I was like, do I want the video element? Because do I want people in my home with me? Do I want
Right.
people? And then what if I am panicked? Will you be able to see it on my face? Like, and I've started to have some real
or
fears
if you
with
get
it.
emotional or
If I get emotional, or I've started to have some real fears with it, and I am not a super scripted person, and that is one thing that you're going to have to work with me on.
Yeah,
You know, as
absolutely.
the producer of my podcast, you're going to have to work with me on, because I don't always like to be directed and told. Well, I don't ever like to be directed and
you don't
told,
ever.
right?
Yeah.
But I am going to need some guidance, and it is something that is stretching me. And when you're talking and sharing things that are personal, and it will be a mix. It will be personal, it will be
Yeah.
professional, it will be career based, it will be
it'll be fun.
Mandy
it'll
the
be-
golfer, whatever. It'll be a lot of different things. I don't want to pigeonhole. That was the goal. I don't want to pigeonhole it to just career based or just this space or just this space, but having the space to be creative and share
Yeah.
and hopefully inspire and heal.
I love
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Launching
That's
soon.
beautiful.
That's
My
amazing.
unperfect life.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm happy for both of you.
I'm happy
And I
for you.
loved doing this with you guys.
Happy for
too.
us.
Me too. Yeah.
And if somebody feels so compelled to pick up the Real Chat Round 2,
right.
we
you're
will-
welcome to.
we will sell the naming rights.
There you go.
For millions.
Yeah, it's like for $10 million. Right.
Yeah, but I'd love to see the next generation of entrepreneurs
I would too. Yeah.
coming forward and picking up where we left off, if they could, in this
Exactly right.
community.
Yeah. I think there's a lot was accomplished, and there's still much more to be accomplished, right? Like
More
in
to
this,
come.
in this genre, and for each of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's next.
I love it.
So, well, ladies, no
Our
one wants
last-
to say goodbye.
Farewell.
That's the hard part.
Our
but-
last
right?
sign off.
The best part about it is that no one's leaving, no one's moving, no one's like, it's not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allie's moving to California to be a fashion influencer. Like none of that's happening with
She would
this.
go to New York.
She could. She
No,
would
I'd go to
Fashion
London.
Week.
She'd
Will you go to
London.
London.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course
I just
you
get
would.
out of the U.S. If
Like,
I'm
bye.
doing that, I'm getting out of
I'm
here.
out. I'm out, right? So like that's the nice part about it is that we will see each other again soon, right? We
Totally.
will do life and continue to do life together. So
Love it.
very grateful for both of you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the Real Chat. The whole library is not going anywhere, so if you want to go back to listen to past episodes, it is on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so feel free to continue to listen or go back, because I know I've gone back and listened to previous episodes here in the last few weeks as well, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a great little piece there. Oh wow, you learn something every time, right? So
Yeah.
feel free to keep listening. Feel free to tag us in it, and we're always grateful for your listenership, so thank you very much again.
The Real Chat podcast. Peace out.
Signing
What's
off.
today's slang for we're done? I don't know. Ask
I don't
an
know.
11-year-old.
This podcast 8. I know
8.
that.
This
I know we
podcast
ate
8.
today. I
We
know
ate
that.
today. All right.
right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.